Good morning, folks. I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters and the Pathfinder School. What I'd like to do this morning is talk to you a little bit about spoon making and Sloyd. And Sloyd basically is just handcrafts. The word was coined in Sweden, and it was the precursor basically to industrial arts in the US. But more importantly for us, making spoons and camp utensils in general is an evolution in our education of woodcrafting, because it shows us how to manipulate material with metal tools to create a useful object. And small objects like spoons, spreading knives, spatulas, ladles, those type things require different techniques of knife handling and different techniques with an axe or hatchet than the normal carving feather sticks or making a fire set, processing kindling, and those type things. And it requires a little bit more intricate knowledge of both the materials and the tools. Now, getting started in making spoons is very, very simple. You can do it with a small hatchet like this Holtz Brooks, a carving knife or your belt knife if it's small enough. A carving knife from Mora is not that expensive to buy, and it will do a really good job for you. You can keep this tucked away in your pack or haversack and keep it razor sharp for the task, or you could use a pocket knife, which was the typical American form of a carving knife, was a whittling knife or a jackknife. And then you need something to make concavities in the wood if you're going to make spoons. So you'll need some type of a hook knife or spoon making knife, and you can buy them very cheap, or you can make your own, as we did in this last video or two when we made the spoon knife and we made the scorp and things like that. Those are all hollowing type tools. Now, what I generally tell people is when you start to make spoons, and I kind of taught a class on this weekend at the Self-Reliance Outfitters retail store, start with dimensional lumber. Just go get some 1x2 pine. It's going to be dry. It's not going to be green wood, but it will be soft wood that will give you a square shape to start with, and you can pick and choose the lumber to make sure that you don't get a lot of knots. And then you can cut a spoon blank basically out of a piece of, this is 1x3, this is 1x1.5, and this is 1x2 that I've milled down on a table saw. And this one is made into a margin spreader or butter spreader, and this was one of the first projects in Sloyd that kids were taught when they were making projects with a knife when the Sloyd program was first started in the US in the late 1800s. But reserve that natural material for after you get used to using board lumber. That way you're not cutting down green trees just to create firewood. Get that dimensional lumber that's already cut from a lumber yard, that's already dimensioned, and use that to start your practice with, and then go from there. That makes it very easy for anyone to practice woodcraft and bushcraft even on the back porch of their house or in their living room with a tarp spread out, because you can craft things like this in your home. You don't necessarily have to be in the woods to do it, and it takes very minimal amount of tools and a very minimal amount of room. One thing I do want to show you today before we start on this spreader is I want to show you a tool that you can create called the Swedish Lappvise that will help you with your spoon carving and manipulation of small projects in wood, and it's very, very simple to make and very easy to carry. Stay with me. Okay guys, this is Swedish Lappvise, and I've made a couple modifications to this since I found it on the internet, and a cartoon type picture of this was posted on the Spoon Carving and Sloyd woodworking site on Facebook, and it was also spread around a little bit. I think that might have ended up on the Learning Center or the 21st Century Longhorn page as well. But it was a very obscure cartoon from somewhere on the internet that someone ended up seeing on their newsfeed and posted it around the internet. And it's a very, very good, easy idea. And what this is just a plank of, I think this is 1x10. And you could make this out of a plank of wood if you wanted to at your camp or whatever. You could just shave yourself a plank of wood with your furrow if you had one with you. It's very good for making things like this. And then auger 4 holes like a button in the center. And the one that I saw in the cartoon only had 2 holes, but I went ahead and put 4 in mine to make it just a little bit more versatile. And then you run a rope or a piece of cordage or strap through that, and basically you just make a loop at the bottom to put your feet into, like this, and then you bring this thing up between your legs on your lap, and it creates a vise so that you can take a tool that you're working on, whether it be a spoon or whatever the case may be, a blank, slide it inside that thing, scoot this thing up into your lap, and it gives you a vise to hold that work while you are manipulating a tool to work on it. So it's a very, very good idea. It works really, really well. I used one quite a bit this weekend at the demo that I did on basic carving techniques, and it worked out really, really well for me. So this is something that is very easy to make, very cheap and common man. You know, a plank and a rope makes that lap vise, and again, it works very, very well. So I would encourage you to give this a shot. You could always put your shadow board on the opposite side and make it even more multifunctional. All right, guys, well, I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters and the Pathfinder School, and I appreciate you joining me out here today for this quick tip or trick video on the Swedish lap vise. I'll be back with another video as soon as I can. I appreciate your views and your support. I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, and for our business, for all of our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends. Thank you.